Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we're going to be talking about the reviews for Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. And of course, if you go over to Rotten Tomatoes, it makes it look like it is one of the greatest comic book movies to ever come out. Oh my gosh, it's got an 88% fresh rating. It is verifiable and certified fresh according to Rotten Tomatoes. But if we follow a lot of these reviews, we understand why it's getting a certified fresh rating. It's very easy to find most of the positive reviews mentioning something about the fact that they love that the movie is very much a girl power film and a girl power fest. And yeah, it's got issues and the story's all over the place and it's a mess, but you know what? They're having fun up there, and it's about time that we had ourselves a strong female-led superhero movie, right? That's what we, supervillain movie in this case, right? That's basically what every single positive review is saying, is that it's bringing in political narratives and it's covering up for the fact that they admit that the mess of a plot is there, but that's okay. In fact, I'm hearing certain reports that even Grace Randolph, who's all over the place when it comes to this kind of stuff, apparently just tore the film apart, had so many negative ratings, but ended up giving it a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and giving a fresh rating in general because, well, hey, it's an important movie that everyone seems to be enjoying and having fun with, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a positive rating. And this is the reason why I cannot stand the Access media, because the Access media will continue to give films like this, which, again, by all accounts, based on even the positive reviews themselves, is a narrative hot mess that is a terrible movie. And again, I'll reserve complete judgment until I see it myself. And yes, I do plan to see it. Now, I do not plan to give any of my actual money to the film, allegedly, of course. And I know I'm going to get a lot of people saying, re in the comments section. But again, I don't really care if you're going to read in the comments section, because this film just looks terrible. I've not been sold on this film ever since the trailers, even before Ewan McGregor spoke out and said, oh, well, the film tackles misogyny, etc. Even before all of that nonsense started to come out, I already didn't want to see this movie, because the trailers always have from the beginning looked like trash. They've just not looked interesting. And guess what? That's my opinion, that it looks like trash. If you think it looks great, good. If you want to see and pay for this movie, you go right ahead. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm just a dude, as I've been saying in a couple videos. I'm just a dude giving my opinion. Some people like my opinion, some people don't. And sometimes I have to lay down the boot and say, but hold on, my opinion goes on to a certain extent. Me thinking the film is bad, obviously that's an opinion at this point because I've not seen the movie. But then when I do see movies and I say, okay, let's look at this specific action, let's look at this specific scene, let's look at the fact that it's this or that, and I start bringing up factual things like objective qualities to a movie and say that's why I can say films can be objectively bad too, then obviously that's when we change scenarios. That's why I go back to Endgame constantly. Endgame is objectively bad because the story of Endgame does not make any damn sense. They literally make up the rules as they go. And I know that some people say, you're nitpicking, and yet it's interesting that more and more people, the longer that film has been out, have started to come over to my side of thinking about the movie than previously. I used to be the lone voice that was critical of Endgame. I was the lone voice out there. I was getting attacked nonstop for going after Endgame. And of course, I have a lot of the DC fans coming after me for my criticism of Birds of Prey and a lot of the DC properties as of late too. In fact, I went back to some older videos when I covered the DC movies, and it's so amazing how people were like, oh, you didn't give, you gave a C+ to Aquaman? It's DC, I have to protect it. Wait, you didn't like Suicide Squad? It's DC, I have to protect it. It's just truly phenomenal. Like, no one is ever happy. I've gone after Marvel, I've gone after DC. I go after anyone because I don't care what label is next to your title. All I care about is, are you a good movie? Are you a bad movie? Do you look interesting or do you not look interesting? And nothing about this film looks interesting. And based on the reviews, I'm still asking the question. I've been putting this question out there on Twitter and in all other places. Who is this movie for? Who is this movie for? The fact that Jeremy Jahns, who is a guy I love, if you've not checked out Jeremy Jahns' videos, please see his review of Birds of Prey, because I think his review best explains it. He has positive things to say about the movie. He's got negative things to say about it as well, and I think that they're very honest. And one of the biggest criticisms he has is the fact that the villain, the only motivation of the villain, the only existence of the villain Black Mask, is the fact that he's a misogynist. He says that that is the core element to his character. Why does he hate Harley Quinn? Because he hates women. Why does he do the things he does? Because he hates women. That's the direction that they've gone with this film. Again, that's Jeremy Jahns. A guy that's always fair in his reviews and actually gave a lot of positive things to this film as well. He ended up giving it a you'd like this if you were drunk, high, or under the influence of something, which based on the trailers seems to be pretty accurate. He's already said that, even people like Huntress he's liked. And to be honest, I like the actress that plays Huntress a lot too. So I think he's a pretty fair guy when it comes to that. And it just makes me realize after watching his review that I'm probably going to hate this movie because he is one of those persons that can let a lot of that stuff go. He says, I can just sit back and enjoy it. For me, if it's crazy, nonstop, just randomness that has no reason to exist and your primary villain, the reason why he's bad is because he hates women and that's the message of the film is, oh, it's a group of women and all the women are good and then all the men are bad and it's led by this key head misogynist, that's not going to bring people in. That's going to push people away. And so you can go over to Rotten Tomatoes and you can say, oh, look at that positive score. It's so high. I like to go over to Metacritic because I think Metacritic usually gives a better understanding. Is it perfect? Hell no. But it's a much better, I think, understanding of what the grade actually is because you hear certified fresh, but then you go over here and you see 59 out of 100. 59 out of 100. And the reason why it's at a 59 out of 100 is because most people, or a lot of people, not most, a lot of people are very mixed on this movie. And I think the reason why you have a lot of people in this middle ground, again, the 18 reviews that have come in that have been mixed, is because I honestly believe that it's people in the middle who are saying, I can't say this movie's bad because I don't want to get attacked. For the men, they're probably saying, I don't want to get attacked because they're going to call me all kinds of names. They're going to drag my name through the mud. They're going to say that I hate women, that I'm like Black Mask. That's going to be the number one comment, right? Oh, you're just like Black Mask in the film. Misogyny, oh my gosh. And so they're going to be like, oh, it was okay, or it was messy at parts, but I'm not going to tear it down too much. Mixed review, yay. And then you have the others who say, it was really a hot mess, but you know what? At least they tried. And then you have one person who, in my opinion, is the bravest person to exist in the realm of film criticism, who gave the film a 0. From the San Fran Chronicle, Mick LaSalle is a freaking hero because he gave the film a 0, but also listen to this review. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is more than horrible. It should not exist. It should not exist as my dog tries to eat something out of the trash can. It should not exist. Money should never have been raised for it. The screenplay should never have been filmed. Margot Robbie shouldn't have produced it. She certainly shouldn't have starred in it. It's just a terrible thing to inflict on audiences who, after all, didn't hurt anyone and just hope to have a nice time. That is the greatest film review I think that I have ever seen in my life. I don't think I've ever read a 0 film review because normally I just skip over them. But for this movie, because I call party foul on a lot of these reviews because, again, when you dive into them, a lot of them just bring up, like a stiletto sharp screenplay by Christina Hodson. Oh yeah, the same person that wrote Bumblebee, that piece of trash. Like, so many people are putting all this nonsense in there. And again, I go back to the Jeremy Jahns review, which is, I think, going to be the key focus for all of this. But Mick LaSalle, man, this is just, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to blow this thing up for everyone so that way you can read it for yourself. This review right here, this review is so honest, right? And I'm not saying that means, oh, if you like the movie that you have terrible taste or anything like that, because I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to see it for myself to be able to make that, whether the objective problems are really just so egregious that it's impossible to ignore, or whether it is this, middle ground objective-subjective split. But I just can't help but just bravo, good sir. Bravo. As I said, I think that overall the box office, as you can see, you have even the Rap, who's, I think, kind of getting, ahead of themselves here. Can Birds of Prey and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn slay at the box office? Slay, Queen, slay! Well, will it do well? We'll have to wait and see. Is it doing better than any other DC film? No. In fact, it's actually tracking below a lot of other DC film properties that have come out in history. And I think that it's going to be one of the lower grossing DC films to come out. And if this message gets out there, if people like Mick LaSalle can influence people, or the reviews of people like Jeremy Jahns, who again gave it a very middle ground review and said that it's not a very good movie, but there's some parts that I liked. And you know what? If you're high or stoned or drunk, you might enjoy it. I think that it might be enough to push people away from seeing it. I think that people like Ewan McGregor are pushing people away by talking about nonstop misogyny and the fact that the main villain only hates Harley Quinn, and the main purpose and drive of his character is that he hates women, and that is supposed to be representative of modern day, the modern day trials and tribulations of women, I think is something that's going to push so many audiences away. I think the word of mouth on this film is going to be poor. Does that mean the audience score is going to be poor? No, because we all know the audience score can be whatever the hell it's going to be. But I honestly do believe that enough comic fans, because the biggest problem, biggest criticism that this film has gotten from comic fans has been these characters do not look like the comics. These characters look nothing like the ones in the comics. And I think that that is going to be enough to push those people away. And then if anyone does actually decide to go see the film as a comic fan that goes in with those criticisms, they're going to see these representations and say, this is not at all what the characters are. And why are they turning this great villain in the comics into a total misogynist? Where did they get that from? Why is that the motivation? And I think at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of people going after the film for that very reason. You have so many people who are praising Kathy Yan because she's a woman. Let's just be honest. Let us, again, be honest. You may not like what I'm saying, but at the very least, understand that what I'm saying is based in reality. If this movie was written by two men and directed by a man, this film would not be getting this kind of praise. And I know this because I've just been following this nonsense for so long now that it's just so easy to see. It's just so easy to predict. They would say, oh my gosh, the characters are so on the nose and it's a hot mess, etc. But because it's a woman who directed it, because it's a woman who wrote it, because it's all these other things, they're willing to give it a pass because it's more about the message for them. They don't want to hurt the message. They don't want to hurt the future. And that is, of course, I think going to hurt film criticism going forward and the film business in general going forward. But anyway, once again, let me know your thoughts about it. Do you think that these reviews are pretty accurate? Again, the fact that most people, or a lot of people rather, are very much middle of the road in it, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think the 59 score on Metacritic is a lot more accurate to what people are going to feel about this film, other than the 88% verified fresh rating over on Rotten Tomatoes. And what are your thoughts on Mick LaSalle? Is this not the greatest review that you've ever read in your entire life? It almost reminds me a lot of that old Billy Madison quote of, I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul. I feel like it's that level of a review and it's freaking fantastic. But let me know your thoughts about that and all that you're talking about in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash the like button, give me a subscribe, it helps me a lot. You're all amazing, beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now to give a shout out to my February Patreon and Subscribe Star members, animation commentator Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik. Please let me know if I need to repronounce that name. Divex, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weird Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Jeffrey Lebowski, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And over on Subscribestar, Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2Cool99, Darkstar57, Alice McCarthy, US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and ZK Man. Thank you very much for being my Patreon Subscribestar members for the month of February. And if anyone else decides to join, at the next couple of days or so, I will add you into this list as well. You guys freaking rock. Have a wonderful one. And as always, God bless.